let's start off by putting a question out to you. It's 12 months since a lot of us first made contact, actually, from Space Comm, etc., and a little bit before. Looking back on an individual basis, do you have some particular highlights, some particular challenges which you think, gosh, that was a bit of a whopping event, and I learned from that? Mason?
Put me on the spot from the beginning.
You're tough boy.
Well, oh yeah, but yeah, honestly, from the startup world and stuff like that, I think the hardest part is just getting that initial spark to take the idea into funding and all that has been kind of a challenge where we've had a few people approach us saying, hey, you've got a great novel idea. We'd love to get you funded. And then you go through the process and then, you get bounced back or something like that. So, space isn't a linear progression up. So it's, some of those fun challenges, learning and just growing as a company. But in the same sense too, as I got thrust into the CEO position about 2.5 months ago because our CEO was poached as well. So I guess we're doing something right that they want our people. So now we just got to bring the tech along with us.
I think you should expand that a little bit, Mason. In fact, your CEO, your ex-CEO, is now your current wife, and your current wife is now the CEO of Space Scotland. That's a cracking development.
Oh yeah. So I can't fault her for jumping ship because honestly, to get that opportunity to go lead Space Scotland and return to an organization that's just growing and supporting Scottish companies across the country up here, that's an excellent opportunity. So we're really proud of her. I'm really proud of her.
Absolutely, and so you should be. Sarah, I'm going to drop down to you now and say, well, in a year since we last met and first spoke, actually, what's been happening for you, and how have you got around these and prospered?
So our area is very interesting where it's just at the right time, right place, where a lot of people are getting a lot of interest in going into these new frontiers with space, really being able to go lower and do a lot of this new technology. And we were at a point in time where there was too much potential, weirdly enough. So when we started, we were trying to see, okay, can we just do propulsion? Can we just fit in and just do be part of the value chain, just sell, upwards to a satellite manufacturer and really just be part of that chain. But then as we moved on, it was just there's actually such an untapped field right now where we can actually just do more. Can we actually look into doing the full satellite? Can we actually look into doing eventually the operation as well? And that was something that we saw more and more getting confirmed by the market and the needs of the customers directly. So we definitely had quite a fun journey understanding our place in the industry and how to then best grow. And as I was testing a lot of these kind of hypotheses with these different customers, that's where we really found our success. So right now we're negotiating for some very good deals with customers all over the world to be able to do constellations, to be able to do just the propulsion, to be able to do just a satellite, for example, for them. So it's actually been such a fantastic way to grow, where now we're just at the cusp of it with our, hopefully, first flight going in next year, end of next year, to really get that first validation and really be able to unlock that whole industry, not just for us, but anyone who then wants access to this region. So it's been a really fantastic development plan. I think we've definitely had our fair share of issues, challenges, interpersonal things with the technology, things with, just the timings just weren't hitting right. Funding obviously is a big thing as well that we're looking to sort that out one way or another right now. But it's definitely been a fun uphill battle, truly the Sisyphus, trials of pushing the rock uphill, but eventually, there is a hill to push it over. So it'll be good. It'll be good.
I love your background because actually it's like the dawn of a new era for Star's Edge with the sun cheekily poking over that particular planet. That's
the Star's Edge, that's it.
Star's Edge, exactly that. You didn't make this stuff up. You've put some thought into it. Jamie, we've known each other now for, well over a year now. And just for fun fact, Jamie is one of the tallest people in Edinburgh. So Mason, if you haven't seen him, he will be very easy to spot as you walk down the Royal Mile. But Jamie, tell us about your last year or so.
Sarah, when you were speaking there, something also struck a chord with me of observing that the landscape might not be what you initially think it is. So we are still sticking with the idea of selling armor as a module, but we kept asking ourselves the question of what if we sell a new class of spacecraft that already integrates this armor at a very foundational level, and you have ultra resilience built in from day one. This thing is just meant to go to places where other things can't generally have a good risk profile and just face tank the risk. And we were like, does that have legs? Can we offer a new class of platform rather than just offer a product? And similarly, consider offering a service on top of that at some point in the future. And the answer increasingly became yes. People are interested in that. They don't necessarily want to do it all themselves. And then conversations spun out of that about essentially collaborative integration. How can we go about doing this with others so that we can offer this? But the focus has still mainly been on developing a module, a single like business-to-business style product, that being Armor in various setups or formats. I think the most exciting thing in the last year, and it's pretty much coming up for a year anniversary of this. It was in Space Tech Expo Bremen last year, where we kicked off a relationship with a European supplier and a European prime as part of ESA's Zero Debris program, and we've just been pursuing that ever since. So we're through the first phase on that, where one of the primes has accepted our proposal to co-develop this spacecraft armor with them, which is great for us because it means that we get an ideal customer. But now we need to lobby the UK delegation to the Ministerial Council so that the UK actually release funding for this, because funding is always an issue. So it's like one problem is solved, and then there's another one, and it still feels like you're solving that same problem. It's just the problem expands, but that's fine. There's no shortage of interesting stuff to be done, so it's fine by me.
Interesting, Jamie, you touched on so many things there which could be spun off into a whole series of different conversations, and I'll resist the urge to do so. The F word popped up, obviously, for funding. Well, let's just park that one, okay. Last but by no means least, Kate, you're coming from an interesting perspective here. You're working with businesses from their nascent 2 men in a shed, or plus ladies are welcome as well, etc., in the space sector. But you mentioned earlier on that you're now working with scale-ups, and you work, for example, exclusively with Sky Aurora. What sort of trends have you noticed in the last 12 months?
Well, to be very transparent, I've only been in this particular role for just over 6 months now. Prior to that, I've worked with loads of startups. So with my time in Edinburgh was at Codebase, working with various companies within Codebase. I worked with TechNation all across the Northeast, and then I worked with a CBI as their head of clusters. So in every one of those roles, including this one, I've been working across innovation landscapes with different types of companies. What I've noticed in particular to this sector is each of these founders have said, the critical thing is that they are trying to build amazing products that have much longer kind of lead time on it. They need very specialized expertise, but they don't have a very big, long, runway of money. So how do you do both and still be able to get things that, across the line or a project? So one thing I'm very proud of in the past, in my time just in the 6 months, is I brought on a partnership, what we're calling it augmented engineering. So basically it's with a company called Space-Time Development. These are guys that have worked for Oxford Dynamics, Oxford Space Systems, Astroscale, here at the Satellite, Catapult, and they all have such robust, specialized experience, but they're able to go in on a contractor basis. So we are basically talking to startups and scale-ups, different types of sizes, and saying, look, you may not have all the money in the bank right now that you would like to have, but you're needing to get this done. So we will offer a very specialized contractor. You can have like a menu, basically, like I need a propulsion engineer, I need a systems engineer. You can get these guys in for a much reduced rate compared to what the market is out there. So the average contractor is anywhere between, for these kind of specialized roles, anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500. The top guy in ours is charging $650 a day. So I think, when you're thinking about that and you're looking at the landscape, we really wanted to be a company that came in and said, look, we want to solve some of these issues. We're not just looking to make money off of everybody. We really want to come in and be part of the sector and really try to help the ecosystem. And so that's the one thing I'm really proud of right now. Loads of other things coming. International engagement, hello, that's a big one. Investment, guys, I'm working on that. Can't hire unless you have the money.
That's really interesting, because what you're talking about is developing a slightly different business model for providing services to people like Mason, James, and Sarah. It's like it's very much like the approach we're taking now with our virtual engineering resources. You know, if James needs something or Sarah needs something to get them over a hump in terms of skill sets, you can come to us. But that's enough for the shameless plug for Technia in this case.